Hey you, it's me. Let's go on a journey today to fix the new player problem in Dead by Daylight. We all know that the introduction for players into Dead by Daylight is one of the most brutal ones probably in most games. So before I tell you how I would fix it, just always as a reminder with anything tied to Dead by Daylight with an opinion, it's my opinion, doesn't mean I'm necessarily right. If you disagree with me, just be civil in the comment section. If you agree with me, be civil in the comment section. That's it. Let's hop into it. Well, as simple as there's a lot of things, tutorials, being updated. We'll talk about that later, being one of them. But the biggest thing I think would help is a beginner-friendly queue, where those survivors can only go into that certain queue if they're new. How I would probably do it is like 50 hours maybe in total, or 50 hours both sides. I mean, something like that. Maybe we all know that amount of hours is a good amount for a game, I would say, especially normal people, casual people. But for Dead by Daylight isn't enough. But I think that would help them get more acclimated than just being flung into normal queue against just, blight, nurse, and then every so often, or probably Myers now too, who's really strong, is really good and would be super strong against a new player playing Survivor. So I think that's probably the thing I would do the most. There's a lot of things you have to think about when you do a specific queue for those players, like smurfing being another one. Some type of account verification would be needed. How that would work, I have no idea. Maybe tied to an IP, and once you get above, let's just say it's 25 hours both sides. So if it's 50 hours total, once you get above that 50-hour mark, you are no longer able to go into beginner queue, and then it's tied to your IP of some sort, something like that. And let's say a survivor that's still technically under the beginner queue mark, and those 50 hours only count for beginners. So if they have 75 hours in the game, say 40 is in the beginner queue, they still have 10 hours remaining, and it kind of acclimates and adds that way. Then a beginner player can go into a normal queue and then hop back in. I don't know if that would be kind of like if you just hold all of your beginner queue hours and just keep playing normal. I don't know exactly how it would work. Something like that I would really like. There's a lot of things with the queue, are they going to be able to play every killer? What about perks, add-ons, items, everything like that? What I think would be the best way to do it: unlock all killers, unlock all perk, unlock all add-ons and items for each respective role. And I don't know how the killer would work, because I think, you don't want them being introduced to this brand new game and then not playing all the killers. I think maybe do a 5 hours max for, the entirety of one killer each. So each killer has 5 hours max. Obviously, you can't play every killer for a full 5 hours under that 25 to 50 hour mark, but giving 5 hours max for each character. So then whenever they get into normal queue, they know who to buy. Essentially, they want to, they've already used it, so let's buy that player, or probably that killer, because I really enjoyed them in that 5 hour span. I think something like that would be really cool. Unlock all the killers, perks, everything, and let the new killers and new survivors that come into the new queue battle it out, and they're slowly learning the game, everything. They might not necessarily know what meta perks are, but trying to find that synergy within that 5 hour mark of being able to play each killer. It's not a lot, but I think it's a good way to introduce survivors and killers and people wanting to play Dead by Daylight into the game without it just being way too much. Because let's be real, the new player experience for DBD, it's probably one of the most overwhelming ones in all of gaming. That might be a stretch, but I feel like it's definitely up there. And I think, staying on that topic for the queue, again, we'll get into tutorials in a little bit, consulting with your player consultants, your consulting program, so that the only maps allowed in that queue are generally the most balanced map in Dead by Daylight. I think I said map. I meant map. So let's say a total of, 10, if there's even that many, I don't know. But let's just say 10 maps of the most balance there is in DBD, because you don't want a new killer going to Badham. And generally, to be fair, new survivors aren't going to know how to loop like other survivors, but you don't want that bad RNG experience or whatever it is on some maps. Shout out Toba, shout out Ormond, really hurting the new killer experience. And because you don't want it to be killer sided either. So just consulting with your people you're supposed to consult with to be able to try to get that nice balance for, let's just say, 8 to 10 maps, something like that. I know it's not a whole lot, because we have 40 plus total, 42, 44, something like that. So I think I think that would be how I would want it to be done. And I think just wrapping it up on the kind of own queue. I think it'd be really cool. You would have to work out account verification so you are able to make sure that not like a bunch of, numbskulls, if you will, are trying to ruin the new player experience by smurfing and getting content, that whole true talent issue, whatever it is. You just don't want the new players going against experienced players. So however that would work would need to be dealt with. And yeah, I think in total, it's a great idea. I'm pretty sure that was on my wish list for 2025. Obviously hasn't happened, but I do think that would be the best way to go for new players. The map balancing and then unlocking perks, add-ons, whatever. Maybe not iridescent add-ons. That might be too much. Maybe keeping it below that. I don't know. This is just theory crafting. But let's hop into another very important thing that would be needed to fix the new player experience in Dead by Daylight. And to simply put it, it is tutorials. We all know that that's the thing. We all know all this, right? We all know that the tutorials in DBD are not only garbage, but are extremely outdated. We need updated ones that you can, they're not video tutorials, and updated, get your hands on tutorial before being able to go into the beginner queue. Just going more in depth of how the game actually is played in 2025, more than just doing gen, fault, break palette, that type of thing. Like really a tutorial, maybe even a tutorial per killer would be really cool, and a more in-depth survivor, like something as simple as aughts, like through the game explaining to you how to chain loops together, or for specific killers how you should be using your power rather than just sending 3 birds out at once. Just send one at a time so it refreshes quicker. Those type of thing for artists, by the way. Those types of things. It just needs a more in-depth tutorial, and then just kind of floating into the tutorial / teaching new players. We need killer power specifically. We need better descriptions, not just convoluted crap that even me as a seasoned veteran of Dead by Daylight get confused sometimes. I'm like, dude, what is all this mumbo jumbo? It just needs to be like this is how you do this. Let's do this for this to get to that. Whatever the power is, man. We just got to make it just easier on the new players to understand, not only with the words, but if I go to the killer power description, a little video should be there showing me how the power works. I think would be great. And even if you somehow couldn't get that into the game directly, because we all know behavior probably would not be the best people to be explaining how a certain power works and the best way to use it. Get like third party, hire aughts. Let's just say aughts. He's spokesman of the community, right? To do in-game like video tutorials without his face, whatever it is, showing how a killer works. A video 3 minutes long, whatever it is. And if you don't want him directly tied into the game, because as a business, I guess I kind of understand that, hire him as a third party to where if you go video tutorial, semicolon, whatever it is, click that link. It is a video from aughts, a 3 to 5 minute video, and it shows exactly how to use that killer. We obviously know if you go to aughts, he just drops like a 7-hour, 11-hour video, whatever it is, of all tips and tricks or whatever for each killer. That's great, but it just needs to be a nice little snippet, right? And I think that would be a good way to explain powers a little bit more and like maybe a better way to use them. And then it might be more intriguing for people to just not just watch a YouTube video, but to be like told kind of how to use it, if you will. I think putting aughts in game directly would be the best bet, but I don't assume behavior would ever do that. So doing an external link to a specific video, just 3 to 5 minutes long, explaining the power. That way, if somebody really wants to learn it, yes, there's a whole bunch of different videos and stuff out there, but you have like an official tutorial for Dead by Daylight. It's 100% needed. Get the descriptions better written and not so convoluted and complex. Let's make it as simple as possible for new killers and survivors and players, and get a video tutorial going. In-game would be preferred, but somehow can't do that. Get it to where aughts, let's just say aughts for, stuffs and giggles, that he's the spokesman, then external link, click it, and it takes you directly to the official tutorial of said killer. And I think that's really how I would do it. I mean, I think like as an overview, the best way for DBD to be better without doing anything like this, let's say none of this gets done. The best thing for new players would be a free trial per killer, let's say 3 to 5 hours. And that's like, you're a new account, you're able to play each person or killer, whatever it is, up to 3 to 5 hours. And then you have to buy them. I think that would be great. And then obviously the perks situation for both sides, because there's so many perks on each side. New players aren't going to be able to know all these things, what meshes, what's best, what's not. I think those are the types of things that would need to be changed for the whole beginner thing to be better, without anything else that I talked about with the tutorials or anything, or with the new player queue. But I think the biggest thing for me, new player queue, updated tutorials. And I know that's so simple, but that would change so much, dude. And just like I've said before, meshing perks together. So then instead of 300 or however many we have, we go down to, let's say, 100. Is that enough? Absolutely not. What I think we should probably do, I think would be really cool, up to 6 perk slots, lessen the perks and maybe adjust them, obviously, but that would take us such a big overhaul. I don't think that's possible. And yeah, I'm done yapping. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. I think beginner queue is the way to go. Somehow, some way, that would be the best way to help new players get into Dead by Daylight. But I'm done yapping. Leave a like. I would really appreciate it. Hype the video if it shows up. I don't know exactly how it works yet. Still haven't got it on my phone to be able to do it on other people's videos. I'm done yapping. I'm out of here. Deuces.